From Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to show you how to create a flower spread or spray, how you see, whatever it's called. This is the first one that I created, and I uploaded a tutorial showcasing you my first one that I created. For this flower, I actually used the Gypsy Wandering. For this one, for this flower, I use for the leaves. Actually, it's for the leaves. I used the Gypsy Wandering, and I actually used this one. So I used this leaf, and then you use the contour, the high-end contour, and I hid that image there and that little image there. Let me show you how to do it. And then I actually just went ahead and just increased it. However, like it was about 1.88 by 2.53, but you just adjust it however you want to adjust it. I mean, this is just how you would like to for, you know, I think that was it was like about 2 inches give and take. Then what you do is you're gonna go into, let me go ahead and increase the size, and what you do is you want to hide the, these markings there. I don't know how you call it, but that little marking there, you want to hide that. So you go over here and you select, this is the high contour, and whatever's red, highlighted red, you hit the hide. And then the next one you hit what else you want to hide, and you're gonna hit hide. And that way when you cut it, it's gonna cut the leaf without the little contour or that little marking there. To make this rose, to make this spread, I actually use the leaves from the Gypsy Wandering, and I use this flower punch from EK Success, and I made this rose using that. The buds, I'll show you how to make those. We'll make some buds. The buds were actually made with the same EK Success punch, but kind of crimping it together to make the bud. And then the calic there is made with the Martha Stewart, this hydrangea punch. And I'll show you how to do that. But what I was trying to tell you is this is the first flower that I made, and then it's kind of dimensional. As you can see, it's kind of thick, it's kind of high. It would be perfect for a shadow box, or for, you know, like the outside of an album. It's not that great if you want to have a flat album because it has a lot of dimension. In addition to, if you notice, here's my leaves are kind of like wobbly. So I started working a little more with these flowers, and I created this one. Now this one came out a lot better. It's flatter, as you can see. And for this flower, I actually used the Piscaresque, so it's Picturesque, or Picturesque, from Cricut, and I used that. It's just like a sunflower flower, and actually this one is like 2 inches, and then I graduated like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch downward. So the next flower is a little bit smaller, and let me go ahead and show you that. So this one is about 2 inches, and then I went here and I did this one at 1 6/7 inch, and I basically just put it on top and kind of see if it went, you know, I just made it a little smaller. Then I copied and made this one and made it a little smaller. I put it on top to see how it's going to look, and then this one a little smaller. And once I got all the sizes, I went ahead and copied that and made a bunch of flowers, as you can see there. So I'm going to show you how to create that flower, but before I even show you how to create that flower, let's go ahead and show you how I kind of created the leaves first, because I wanted a nice sturdy leaf, like you see here. So the way to get this nice sturdy leaf was to double. I cut 2 of these out, as you can see here. So I cut 2 of my flower leaves out. And then I went ahead and used some liquid adhesive, and I put some glue on my leaves, on my stem, and then I put this one on top of the bottom one. So I kind of I made a double layer. And the reason why I like liquid adhesive, because I was able to kind of move it around before it dried, and make sure that I have a perfect image on that leaf. So that's how I did that. And then in order to make it look real, you're going to take some kind of cushion. This is one of my push pads, but you can use a mouse. And even that it's a double layer cardstock, you can still take your embossing tool and you can pull it down. So from the top of your leaf, push the embossing tool firmly inwards and kind of like bring it to the center, bring it towards the stem. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other leaf. You're going to, from the top, you're going to roll your embossing tool towards the center or towards the stem. You're going to do the same thing on each of the flower leaves. You do the same thing, you just roll from the top to the stem. So you keep doing that. Okay. And then that's how you get that nice little natural looking kind of leaf. And you're going to do that to all your leaves. The other thing, I'm going to also show you that I use wire. So we're going to use some wire to put in the back of our leaves, like you see here, in order to make it kind of sturdy. So we'll do that. And then for this, you're going to need 4 flowers. So I have 4 here. Now you can use a regular punch. I do also have the Mother's Day bouquet. And I was doing this type of flower with my sister, and she has this bouquet. She doesn't have the other cartridge, the Piscaresque. So she used this flower, and it came out very similar. I mean, it was almost exact as my flower. So if you do not have the Piscaresque, you can go ahead and use, or Picturesque, that's the name of it. You can go ahead and use the Mother's Day bouquet and that flower. So what I like to do is I like to ink the edges, as you can see there. All my edges are inked. And then I wanted to give it kind of a more dimensional look. If you look at this one that I made, we're actually going to create this one. This one that I made, see how it kind of like bubbles up or bunches up, and it looks natural? Well, the way that I got that look was I took my scissors and I cut like every 3rd leaf or every 3rd petal. I cut inwards like that, and just go every 3rd. You're gonna cut, and that's why I wanted to use the Piscaresque, because it had the lines. But you can do the same thing with the daisy. Even if you don't have the lines, you can kind of figure out where to put it. Now this one, I cut it here. And this one has 4, so I'm just going to cut it 2. So it doesn't matter. You can cut 2. So no, because it was not even. Do the same thing here. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 2. And we're going to do the same thing with the next petal. So now you're going to take your, this one is kind of small, so I take my smaller embossing tool and I'm going to go from the top of that one petal to the center, bringing it in. Just like we did with the leaves, we're going to bring from the top of the petal, you're going to push and kind of bring it, slide your embosser inward to the center. Same as this one, you're going to push in and slide it towards the center. Being careful not to tear your flower. You can't be too aggressive, because you will tear your flower if you are too aggressive with this technique. You're going to do everything. You're going to do all the petals. And then when you're done doing all the petals, see how it curls up? Like it looks, to me it looks like a little spider. You turn it over and you're just gonna go ahead and emboss the middle, push in the middle, emboss, go around, and there you have it. So it's gonna look like that. So you're gonna go ahead and do that to all your flowers. And I'm gonna do this off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to assemble it together. So I went ahead and embossed all my flowers, as you can see here. And then the next thing I need to do is the center. So I already did 3, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. You can use a scallop punch, you can use a circle, you can use any kind of flower that's kind of rounded and that doesn't have a lot of this flower will not work to make this type of flower, spiral flower, because it has these grooves in here. So you really only could do the spiral in the center if you can do it, but you cannot really use this flower. If you can use a flower that, you know, it doesn't have a lot of petals, it's just like one solid flower like you can see here. This works great to make little rosettes like that if you don't have a scallop punch. And then I'm going to ink it, and I ink it both sides like you see here. And then I take my scissors and I cut a spiral around that flower, and then I don't make it too, you don't want to make it real wide, your spiral. You kind of want to make it a little thin like you see that I'm doing there. And I keep twirling. What you need to do is you don't move your scissors, you move the paper. So when you twirl, I am moving the paper as I twirl. Okay, so that's good enough. And then now I'm going to go ahead and take some of my distressing ink, and I'm going to distress the edges of my spiral, like you can see here on both sides. Then I can take either a quilling tool, tweezers, whatever you have, and you're just going to pinch on the at the end, and then you twirl towards yourself, like what I'm doing here. So you just keep twirling as you go. And then once you're done, see I'm done twirling, then I can let it uncoil a little bit on my surface here. And I think that's enough. I don't want to have it uncoiled too much. I take some glue, and I'm going to put some glue right here on this area, right there, as you can see there. And then I'm going to press down and give it a couple of seconds to dry. Okay. So press down and give it a couple seconds to dry. And this one, look at all the glue. I don't, every time you use hot glue, it kind of creates those little glue webs, as you can see here. Okay, so once you have that, you're going to take your tweezers again, and then you're going to roll the petals outwards like this, like that, to kind of make it look more natural, like a real rose, like a real bud. And there you have it. So that's going to be the center of one of my flowers. Okay, so let's go ahead and start assembling some of these. So I'm going to take this flower, and I'm just going to put some glue in the center, and then I'm going to put the next flower on, press it down, some more glue, take the next flower, press it down, and then glue. And because I emboss my flowers, you can see like it kind of gives that natural dip in the center, and that's perfect to put my flower center inside of that dip, like that. So there's one. And I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest. So Let me go ahead and hold it down a little bit. And then go ahead and put my center in. And hold it down for a little bit. So there, I got my flowers. Now I want to show you, because I want to create some nice little buds. And I want to show you how to create this little bud with these tiny little flowers. But this is a little too small for you to see how to make it. So I'm going to show you how to do it in with these big flowers here. Okay, and I think I'm missing one of them. So you need 5. And it's the same principle. That little bud is the same. I created this one the same way I created this one. It's all the same. So if you follow the instructions, I'm going to show you on a big one, it's going to come out the same. You might need some glasses. For this one, sometimes I have to use my reading glasses because it's so small. But it's actually the same principle. So what you do is you take your flower. You need a 5-petal flower. You need 5 5-petal flowers. You're going to take your embossing tool. You're going to go around the petals and then curl it inwards like so. Around the petals and then pull inward. Around the petals and pull inwards. Do the same thing with the other one. Around the petals and pull inwards. Around the petal. And you're going to pull inward, around the petal, in, and you keep doing that to all your petals until you create like a little cuff. Okay? Then you're going to take some wire, and you need to take a small little bead, and it doesn't have to be a pretty bead. I usually use my little ugly beads, so it will anchor the center. So you'll see that in a moment. So you take a little wire. Now if you want to create a big stem, you can go ahead and make the wire bigger. So if you're going to create like those sprays that are those ones that you buy at Prima that have the beads and the flowers and they're kind of nice and big, similar to this one. If you want to create something like this, you'll need a bigger wire. But we're just going to create a small one just to use on our sprays like that. So you don't need the big wire. It could be with a small wire. So you just twist it around. And actually I'm just showing you on this big flower because I want to teach you how to make the little ones like that. So once you get your bead onto your wire, you twist it. Then you're going to take a piercing tool and you're going to make a hole in the middle. Now when you're doing that to your little ones, to these tiny little ones, you got to be careful that you don't make the hole so big that it's going to break the flower apart. So you got to be more careful with the little ones, but with the big ones you just make a hole. Okay, you can see me doing here on the center. And actually I got 6. I don't need 6. I just need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now you need your hot glue for sure. You're going to take your wire and you're going to feed it on the first one. You can see me doing here. And let me see if I can make if I can bring you closer with the camera. Let me go ahead and change the camera. And let me adjust you a little bit. Okay. So there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on my bead. And then push it upwards. Let's let it dry a little bit. And then you're going to take this petal and you're going to bend it in. Then you're going to take the opposite petal, skip one, the opposite petal, and you're going to bring it over and kind of make, see how I put it together, and I kind of make that little bud right there. So you put a little glue here, and then put it, close it, and then put a little glue here and close it. And be careful not to burn yourself. Okay, so that's the beginning of it. Doesn't look like much, but you wait and see. It's going to look very nice. Then before you put the other petal, cuff it around this bud, I'm going to go ahead and bend the top of my petal outwards. Use my fingers and see I'm bending it outwards. And then I'm slowly coercing it around that bud. You can see here. So you're going to bend it outwards and kind of coerce it in place to your bud. And then this one you can also, if you use your tweezers, you can always kind of bend the top outward a little bit, like so. See how I use my tweezer and I kind of bend it out? Okay. And you can use tweezers. And I noticed that, you know, I like using my tweezers sometimes a lot better than my fingers because I really could get in there and kind of bring it outwards. And then the reason I like wire because I can pull down on the wire. Now I can go ahead and put some glue inside and then glue it in place. And you don't want to put too much glue. And all the webs, you can, later on you can take your tweezers and clean the webs. And I'll show you in a second how to do that. So see all these webs in there? You can take your tweezer, kind of clean it off. That's why my tweezer's all messed up, because I really go in there and kind of clean all these spider webs off my flowers. Okay. So that's a bud. Now I'm going to do the next one. It's going to be the same way. I'm going to leave it cuffed like it is. And I'm going to thread it through the hole. Okay, thread it to the hole. And then I'm going to offset it. See where it meets, that petal meets right there? I'm going to go ahead and make sure this petal is going to cover that. But before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here in the center and then push it upwards. Wait for a little bit so it will dry. Now I'm going to start bending the top layer back. And you can even use your tweezers for that. Okay. And then I'm going to start again rolling it around my bud like you see here. And I use my fingers to kind of make a little cuff with it. Okay. And then when I'm satisfied with it, I'll bring this one over a little more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this here. Okay, and pull it backwards. Going to glue a little bit here. And put it back. Glue a little bit, put this one in on top of this other bud and glue some here and some here. And then pull it back. Pull the top petal back. And once it's dry, if you want to do some cleanup with your tweezers, you can. Clean this up. Okay. It doesn't look like much, but wait and see. It'll come up. It'll look real nice. Now the next one. Now before I start doing this next one, I'm going to go ahead and take, let me get rid of these webbings. And my fingers all full with glue. You're going to take either a skewer or a paintbrush, whatever you have that's skinny enough, and you're gonna put it behind your first petal, and then you're gonna roll outward. So I'm rolling outward. And if you've seen tutorial how to make those grunge Tim Holt grunge flowers, that's exactly what I'm doing here. The only thing different that I do is I roll my flowers in a cone first, then I roll it out like so. That's the only difference. Because I like to make my flower kind of crinkly like that. And that's more like how nature is. Your flowers are not perfectly straight. They have dimension. They have divots and folds. So that's why I like to kind of play with the paper so you'll see the divots and folds. So then I'm going to put some adhesive here, and then I'm going to push up. Keep pushing up. And then bring the petals close to your flower like you see here. Just push it up. And then put a little bit of glue right here. And then push it up as well. Okay, I'm going to take my next flower, or my next petal. I'm going to thread it through. Good, the same thing. Now notice here's where I have that that division. I'm going to put this petal right there so it'll hide that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some glue in the middle and rotate my flower to make sure it's between the other two petals. So it's going to be in between petals like you see here, and just push it up. And see, it's starting to look like a rose now. Okay, and then my last one, you're going to put it through, same through the hole. And you're going to do the same thing. Take some glue, big glob of glue right there, and then make sure you offset the petals and then pull it up. I mean, 5-petal flower, you can do these anytime. So I got those. Now we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to create tiny little, using the same technique, I'm going to create these little teeny little things. So after I create my little teeny buds, we'll come back and we'll put this flower together, or this flower spray together. Okay, I finished with embossing everything and making my little rosettes. As you can see here, these are my little roses. And I also took some glitter glue, and I took a paintbrush, and I didn't want to make like globs like this one. This one you can see kind of, I didn't like that, the globbiness of that. I wanted something more subtle like this one. You can see the subtleness of the glitter. So you take your paintbrush and you just paint the glitter on the flower like that. And it's still a little wet, but you just paint the glitter. Now I'm ready to put my flower together. I mean my flower spray together. Okay, so you're gonna need 2 circle chipboard, and now you're gonna arrange your leaves around that chipboard to cover it up, and also to make the arrangement. This one's gonna be 4 corners, so that's why I'm kind of putting my leaves in a V shape. And you just mainly stack your leaves one on top of the other, because a lot of where you put the leaves together, or when it's going to be hidden with the flowers. For this one, I'm only going to use 3, so you want to keep with either 3 or 5 or odd numbers. You don't really want to use even numbers when you put these together, unless it's a small floral spray. Then you can use 2 little flowers. So I'm only going to use 3 large ones, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some of my smaller ones. It's going to be put around in the outside of the leaves. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for my second arrangement. This one is just going to be for a small little corner, And then I introduce a different color of green with those leaves that you see there. So I'm going to go ahead and use those same leaves on my bigger flower arrangement, so that way the color will be cohesive. You don't want to introduce a different color on one arrangement and not on the other one, because both of these arrangements are going to be on my double spread layout. Okay, so I'm just going to keep arranging some more foliage. And now I'm just going to go ahead and take my little rosettes and put them around the main arrangement, and use some hot glue for that. So I'm done with that one, the main one. Now I'm going to start putting some more roses on the second flower arrangement on the side there. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some wire on the back of the leaves, so that way to give it a little more sturdiness, because they're kind of flimsy. So the wire will give it more rigidity. So it's not gonna, it's gonna be hidden underneath, so it's not gonna interfere with your layout, and you're not gonna see it. Okay. Now I decided to use that butterfly, but I wanted to create a beaded body. So I took an extra wire, floral wire, and I took 3 beads, and they were kind of amber color beads, and I stringed it onto the wire and twisted it to create the body. And then on top, once you twist the beads in the middle, you're going to take a skewer, and you're going to go ahead and bend the antennas outwards. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Then you're going to glue that on to your butterfly, like you see there. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue that to my main flower arrangement. And you will not see the hot glue, it will be hidden underneath the wings. So this is one of my arrangements. Okay. And this is my other flower. Now before I I want to teach you how to create these buds. If you wanted buds, I didn't make it for this one, but if you wanted buds like those, what you need to do is you're just going to take a punch. You can even take any kind of punch, and then you're going to do the same technique. Let's do this one. You're going to use the embossing tool, and you do the same technique. You roll the flower and you make a cone. Then you're going to bring it together like so, like this, like you see here. Okay, so you're going to put glue. And then you just make a bud. And then you're going to go ahead and take a hydrangea punch, like this one or anything like that. I didn't even have one available. So just take something like this, and then you're going to curl it up. And then you're going to wrap this. You're going to find, this is my best size. So I'm going to wrap it around the butt like that. And you just take this and wrap it around. And you're going to put a lot more glue than what I'm putting. And see? Then you place that on your page, and it looks just like a little bud. And there's your little rosebud. But I'm done with this flower, so I hope you like it. This is one, and then this is the other one. And I'm going to go ahead and create a layout using these floral arrangements. And so that, come back to see me for that layout. And thank you for watching. I hope I inspire you to create these wonderful flowers.